Hello and welcome to the Bloomz Live. We've got a live cafe chat with three amazing artists that will be at the Bloomz show. We have Steve, who's currently in the States in Iowa, and we have Colleen and we have Julie that are going to, they're in the UK. So I'm going to just bring them on now. So they've asked to join, so let me get this to work. So Julie will be coming up shortly. Just wait for the second one to come through. Hey, Julie.
Hey, Sammy. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just seeing. I just need Steve and I need Colleen to request. They haven't requested to join yet.
Okay.
So at the moment, it's just you and I.
Oh, we can chat for a minute or two.
Okay, guys, you need to request so I can bring you on. So how's your day been, Julie?
Good. I'm just sorting my show reel out at the moment. So I'm in my upstairs room and I've got my art out open. You can see.
Oh,
so
fabulous.
A little sneaky peek, yes. So, yeah, I'm just sorting my show reel out, ready for the show.
Brilliant. That Steve will be coming on shortly. Yeah, I'm in my studio, in my work clothes.
Excellent.
Painty hands, just getting ready as well.
Yes. No, I've got more to do. I'm going to, I will be firing the hot plate up later on today, but needed to, yeah, I'm going to make a head start on my show reel. That's my next plan, and then I can keep adding things nearer the time.
Okay, Colleen, you just need to press the request to join. It comes up on the feed and it says request to join. Let me put a request out to you. See if that. There we go, Colleen, I've invited you.
Got a few people watching. Hey, Steve. He's saying hi, ladies. Stephanie's on as well.
Okay. Right. Instagram's being funny again. It says I can only have 3 people in my room, and I've only got 2.
Okay.
So I'll keep it trying to see if right.
So Steve's sending a live video, but they're saying they've sent a request. So.
Yeah, no, it keeps coming up. The request has been sent.
Oh, here's Steve.
Hello, Steve.
There we go. Hey.
Good morning to you.
Wow.
How are you this morning?
That was a little stressful. I'm fine, actually. How's everybody else?
Good.
We're good. We're just waiting. We're just waiting for Colleen to join.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
I've put a request out.
There's a little thing on the bottom, actually, that I didn't see at first. It didn't come up for me. I had to actually find it, poke around and look and find it, actually. So, oh, there we go.
Here we all are.
There you go.
It just arrived. I had my laptop on and I could see you and I was watching it, but I couldn't. I don't know. So I've switched to my phone.
We're all here now. Yay.
No worries. Okay, yeah. I'm going to leave you lovely people to it, and I will come back at the end to close everything down.
You're going to leave us chatting.
I look forward to hearing your cafe.
Lovely. Thank you, Sammy.
We do.
Hello, guys.
Hello, good morning.
Hey, how
of course,
you
it's
doing?
Morning for me, actually.
Good morning for you. So, yes. So, for those of you that kind of don't know who we all are, we are 3 artists who are going to be participating in the Bloomz Art House upcoming show. So, we have... So I might kick off. My name is Julie Roeffel. I'm an Encaustic Wax artist, and I'm a member of the core Bloomz group. And we've got Colleen Conti here, who is a contemporary landscape artist based in Horsham, Colleen, I believe, aren't you? Yes. And Steve Gallagher as well, who does the most amazing fine art prints as well. So Steve is based down in Worthing, down on the south coast, but you're actually in the States at the moment, Steve, aren't you?
I am. I'm actually in my hometown where I grew up.
Okay.
Enough. It's the first chance I've had to come back for 5 years now. So.
Wow, lovely,
so
fantastic.
Then moving on to Florida after this. So.
Oh, nice.
I know.
So okay, we'll come back to America in a moment then. So you're back in the UK for the show when the show's on, or are you doing the show from the States?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm back on the 24th.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah. So you'll have a
perfect
week to
time. So I have a
land
week
before.
to
Yeah.
prepare actually.
Yeah.
So
Perfect. Oh, cool. So,
yeah,
yeah, for those of you that kind of maybe have just happened upon us as we're chatting, we've actually got an upcoming art show, which is going to be on the 29th and 30th of April. It's the most amazing format ever. It's held across Zoom, but not Zoom like boring, stuffy Zoom. It's each of us as individual artists have our own art studios. So you come into our art studios and you come and chat to us basically, and we have a show reel of our artwork, and it's just an opportunity to chat with people. There are 15 of us at this show. I think this is our fourth, maybe fifth show. And we have 7 guest artists coming in for this show, of which Colleen and Steve are looking nervously. It's like their first show with us, which is
yeah.
it's going
It's
to be exciting.
definitely a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, but
But it's
it's
nice
fun, you know.
actually.
It's
Yeah, it's very
yeah,
good. It's very
and
clever,
actually
it's brilliant format.
it is a great format, and actually it's it's the same for whether it's an art. We were the same when we first did it the first time. But the same for people coming to the show and they're like, oh, I don't quite know what I'm doing. But actually,
Yeah,
once you sort it's not difficult. It's just that kind of that first. It's like anything. The first time you do something, it's like, oh, but once you've done it, it's like, yeah, no, it's absolutely
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
So
If
yeah.
you're a technophobe like me, it's a nightmare.
Uh,
Guys, that I've synced my headphones to the laptop, not to my
Yeah, I
phone.
can
Is
hear
that
you
okay?
fine actually.
yeah, you
Uh,
can hear you fine. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely fine. No, see you, hear you fine. So
feedback.
no,
So,
it's all good. It's
Julie,
all...
do you want to start talking about telling us a little bit about your background then?
So my back. Oh, okay. Well,
And then kind of how you got to where you are now.
how long have you got?
Yeah, no.
No, I'm well, I paint with a really ancient art form. It's called Encaustic Wax Painting. Um, and it's actually, well, certainly in the UK, it's not very well known. It's more well known in the States and Canada. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it or not, but yeah, it's so I basically melt beeswax and tree resins, add pigments, and yeah, kind of layer. You get these amazing layered textural pieces. I've actually got one on the wall behind me. Yeah, so it's a really
Yeah,
amazing.
it's
So sometimes
beautiful.
quite abstract in form. Otherwise,
Yeah.
other times I'll do portraits. I'll kind of mix it all up. So yeah, use all sorts of different tools and yeah, everything from heat guns, blow torches. Just it's set fire to your paintings. Sometimes there's so many things you can
Yeah.
do. So
Very
it's quite
nice.
unusual in the UK. There are very few encaustic artists that do it over here. So yeah, I'm hoping I can introduce some more people to the amazing world of encaustic. So yeah.
Very
I
nice.
bet it
Yeah.
smells nice when you're doing
Oh, it
these.
smells amazing. Yeah, it does. And it's just all natural materials. So, there's,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's just like that really lovely natural, you're not working with synthetic materials. It's lovely. So, yeah,
Good.
no, it's
And
good.
how about
It's
you,
good.
Colleen?
Yay.
What do I do? I want to ask Julie more questions.
Okay. Yeah,
I
definitely do. I'm like,
about this because I've never done it. It's something I've literally never tried, but I did know about it. And I've seen people who worked in it, but I don't know like what substrate you work on. Is it on card? Is it on a special kind of, is it on aluminium or what do you use?
There are 2 ranges of waxes I work with. So there's one that works at a much lower heat, and that I will use. It's a special encaustic paper that's used for encaustic. It works with the wax really well, and that's just applied in a very single layer. And I'll either use an iron or a heated stylus on that. But otherwise, I will use wooden board. So this piece behind me it's on a wooden board. Yeah, and it works at a much higher heat, and you can enable it to kind of build up in layers and yeah, get
do you
multiple
add the
layers.
colors? Do you add the
Yeah,
colors yourself, or do you
I do.
purchase them
I do
separately? Or
both. Yeah, you can.
okay,
When I first started, I've been working with it about 10 years now, and you just literally couldn't get supplies over here at the time. It was just
right.
next to impossible. So I literally started by making my own mediums and adding my own colours. And I love doing that, actually. It's a bit like cooking, it's sort of, I'll take these herbs
Sure.
and those spices. But the supplies are definitely more available over here now. So I do have some of the actual wax blocks, but actually I quite enjoy that process of making my own as well. So yeah, a
Sure.
real
Yeah.
mix. And you can mix it with a lot of other media as well. So
Yeah.
apart from acrylic, doesn't mix well with acrylic. But but these are all the kind of questions you can ask at the show, and it's like this is exactly the format that it kind of takes when you're there and kind of come in and
how
chatting.
large is what's the largest piece that you work in? What are the sizes that you work in then?
My largest piece that I've got is 6 foot tall.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I've kind of painted a big goddess painting. My intention was to do just work on very large scale pieces, but then I moved out of my art studio. I'm currently in the process of moving back to Cornwall, so for the time being, I'm only doing large pieces like that to order as a commission. But yeah, but all sorts. Sometimes really tiny, sometimes huge. So we can work to any size really. So yeah. But how about you guys? So Colleen, I met you actually at Sandown Racecourse a few weeks ago. You were exhibiting there. And I've seen your work. It's absolutely amazing. So tell us a little bit more about your work. I'll let you explain it because you can explain it way better than I can.
Oh, I'm not sure I can. It's at the moment, I mean, I've worked differently in the past. At the moment, the thing that I'm finding the most fun to do and the most kind of exciting is to work quite intuitively. So I don't have a set. I do have a theme in mind, and I will have been inspired by something. But I don't seek to represent a particular, view or scene. It's not representational. It's kind of I want to get across the feeling and the mood and the general being in whatever space I'm in at the time.
Yeah.
So at the moment, because I find that my kind of work follows the seasons. I can't help but be. So in the autumn I was using lots of kind of golds and oranges and things, and now it's spring. I'm kind of very much using blues and yellows, and botanical shapes are coming in. Flowers I've not particularly painted before, but big sort of petal shapes coming in, but they are abstract.
Yeah. But that's what really hit me when I saw them. So it's interesting you say it's very intuitive, because that's the way that I tend to paint. I'll kind of start out with a thread of an idea, but it's a very intuitive process and it evolves. And I think maybe that's why I connected with your work so instantly. As soon as I saw it, it's like, I couldn't necessarily put it into words, but it's definitely something very, kind of hits you right in the stomach. And I thought it was amazing.
There is an overlap between what you do and what I do as well, because the process, it's the texture for you and what the wax will do. I think that relates quite well to, because I like using paint in lots of different ways. Like using a brush is almost is a tiny part of what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm sort of pouring it on, I'm dragging it on, I'm kind of using rubber shaping tools and collaging and just layer, put ink on, stain it. So it's what those things suggest to me as I go along. I like the element of surprise and discovery and experimentation.
No, definitely.
Do you have a general idea of what you're planning to do, or you just kind of just go with how you feel? I'm always curious about people's approach, really.
Well, obviously, how you feel can change from day to day, so you've got to have something a bit more abiding than that. So, but it does happen that I start with something in mind, and then I move on, and the picture just with me, or it dies because I just don't connect with it. If it makes sense, but
sure.
And I do find the winter the hardest, because most of what inspires me is to do with being outside and the natural world, really. And there's less. I find it a bit harder in the winter. Right now I'm spoiled for choice, really.
I just sat out in the garden today and had breakfast, and it's like, that first breakfast and coffee outside, and the sun's just coming through and the flowers are bursting, and like I said, it's inspiration everywhere, but it's
I heard it's
a bit
warm.
harder.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
And I
heard it's warming up, actually.
The senses, it's not just the visual, but it is the feel, the smell, which is why I quite like them being abstract, because it means I'm not constrained by perspective and proportion. I can kind of, you know, have all sorts of things all jostling in there, just like being somewhere and having all your senses firing at once.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, for sure. Sure. Well, that brings us nicely on to Steve's work, actually. So I was looking through your portfolio earlier, Steve. I mean, I've seen some of your paintings, but I hadn't seen, paintings, photography. Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
thank you very
tell
much.
us some more about yours. Yeah.
Well, I'm relatively new to this now. Again, I mean, it's kind of my second round of being a photographer. I went to school at the Art Institute in Chicago, so I have a fine art background in photography, but then I went down a commercial route and went into fashion photography. So I did that for about 10 years, but then I completely got out of it. When I was living in New York, I moved into graphic design and advertising, marketing, that route. And then I've been doing that, and I still do that. I have a design agency. I started in London, but moving down to Worthing right before the pandemic, I planned on getting back into photography when I had time, and then with the pandemic, I had lots of time. So,
yeah,
and I also moved a couple houses away from the seafront, so that I do now a lot of seascapes. And then I also have a studio. There's an artist that owned the house that we bought that had, so I had a studio behind the house that I've kind of set my own studio place to do a lot of studio fashion. So I started accumulating lighting and kind of put my own studio together. And then we're using flowers and kind of the floral theme more as more of like a test, actually, to just kind of learn photography again, learn the digital side of it. Because when I was doing it beforehand, it was all, you know, the emulsion-based, you know, film, and it is a whole different learning curve. It really is. So I spent a lot of time just kind of learning again, you know, teaching myself again, and then just slowly fell in love with kind of shooting flowers and just kind of nature, really. So, and that's where it is now, you know. I mean, you know, and then I started realizing that what I was shooting, I wanted to do like really big. So I started like shooting like macro kind of oriented floral and flower themed images, really with the intent of trying to have people kind of stop and look at things a little bit closer. So I was not only like shooting fresh flowers, which were the immediate initial like instinct at first, but I was then taking the flowers and I was leaving them in boxes and letting them dry. And then that's why I asked earlier, like, you know, if you have a plan, calling of like what you're going to do, because a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just go out and I have these tools of different lightings that I can actually set up that I can do and use if I want to. And I'll just rummage through these boxes and find things, little different things, how, you know, different, maybe like I have an orchid that I have probably 50 orchids now that have fallen off, and I just throw in the box and they change shapes as they dry. So, you know, one day it will be one shape, and then it'll dry maybe a little bit more, and it'll turn into a little bit of a different shape. And I'll go ride my bike a lot, so ride along the River Adder, and I'll like just collect pieces that I think are interesting along the river and just bring them back and throw them in boxes and just different shapes. And that's kind of the direction I think I'm moving more, of just the less traditional like tulip or orchid or rose, but trying to shoot things that are a little bit more obscure, I guess, a little bit different. People aren't really used to looking at very closely.
Yes,
So that's it.
Make them, you know, elevates them anyway. They look extraordinary. They don't look just like flowers. They look, you know, they are, it's so compelling.
Yeah, well,
I want to ask you a couple of about that.
Sorry?
Well, how do you isolate the flower like that? Because I've done some photography myself, and it's really difficult to get a direct sort of overhead view of a flower. I mean, if you've if it's in a vase, then you don't get that
Yeah.
perspective. But if you cut the flower, lay it on something, you don't get that perspective. So I'm
Yeah.
just fascinated as to how to do it.
Well, there's lots of little techniques that I've kind of learned along the way, and that is all kind of part of this new learning curve. You know, like one of the things I use are these little soldering arms or little alligator clips that bend all over the place, and I can kind of hold things. And you know, I never even knew that there was these little kind of weighted pieces that have the nails sticking up out of that you can stick flowers down into, and that they're kind of flower
So
arrangement
yeah, yeah.
pieces. I have I basically have built myself this light tent really within the studio that I can change backgrounds and yeah, and then I use a very high megapixel camera. So and I've learned that, you know, everybody first looking at the images, you think they're macro based, but a lot of them are shot back a little bit more, where I can crop into them because of the depth of field and having to get this. There's lots of different techniques that photographers can use, like photo stacking and all like that, but it's really quite difficult with flowers because they move all the time. And for something like a focus stacking situation, you need to have something like that, everything be completely still in exactly the same place. So it's definitely a big learning curve. It's been a big learning curve on it. I mean, I've recently had I don't want to call it commission, but somebody's contacted me about doing like a 183 by 183 centimeter piece, which is just sourcing it alone, having it like printed at a really fine art level and having it framed at that size and having it delivered at that size is difficult in itself. But that's when I think I'll really see like kind of what I've imagined in my head all the time. So like the largest I'm doing locally are about kind of 36 by 36 or 40 by 40 inches for the florals. So I try to keep to a 1:1. But anyway, I can go on and on.
Just what I was going to ask you actually, what size do you do them to? So
well, there's a very clear combination of I talked to a frame shop and then the printer I thought I was gonna have to go to Brighton and to London to have things produced, and I was fortunate to find a couple suppliers in Worthing, but the frame shop guy was very clear. He's like, you know, if you don't want to go, if you don't want to get into like massive amounts of money of like framing your pieces, you want to stay below like 48 inches by 36 inches because like non-reflective glass comes in that size or something like that. So I kind of based my initial round of images and sizes around that.
But the nice thing is that there are different options. There are other ways. Yeah.
Steve's asking about what the subject is. It's going to be a flower and possibly a dandelion. I have one shot of a dandelion shot on black background. That I think that is going to be the 180 by 180 piece that somebody wants for their dining room. So
love a dandelion shot. I think Steve might be somebody to chat to actually, because I know that he's got some experience within that field. So yeah.
Okay.
Have a chat. Good. Yeah.
Really? I mean, it's a very much
sounds
of a new
brilliant.
learning.
I mean, so I was looking through your website this morning, and
they're just beautiful. Do you edit out the background at all digitally?
Not much. I have like a lot of the like anything. I do a lot of things on black, and then basically a lot of it I built this just big black velvet tent, really, and velvet absorbs light. So a lot of times that, you know, you're basically just shooting, you know, where there's no light in it. And the nice thing about that, it just sucks all the light out of it. And then you can just apply little pieces of light that you want to light in this case, usually flowers. But I think I'm moving on to other things. But I started to do, Julie, it's very similar to, I was going to comment because I've started doing these shots that are backlit with light, strobe light coming from behind, which actually I saw some pieces of yours that really reminded me very similar to like some of these pieces that I've just started shooting. So like,
right.
very inspirational.
Oh, interesting. Do you know
Yeah,
what? That's what I love about doing these shows, though. It's so great because you kind of get one, just not that you're copying anything, but it's just like you get one idea and you're like, oh, that's just enough to spark an idea off. And, you know, I just
yeah,
think these shows just make it's so good for bringing people together and, and just kind of inspiring each other, inspiring other people, and
yeah.
introducing a
Your
new lot of people to our work.
at some point, horrible expression, pick your brains.
Mhm.
But I want to think about using wax on canvases because
Yeah.
it goes with oil, doesn't it? With oil. I use wax to create texture.
Yes. Yeah.
What I'd quite like to do, I was thinking a while ago at the end of last summer, which had rose petals, and
Hmm.
I had them laminated in between sheets of tissue paper, and then I was then trying to collage them on, but which wouldn't have been a problem if I'd been using acrylic, but because I was painting in oil, I didn't know how to get them to stick. So I was trying to use a sort of a mixture of cold wax and varnish and stuff. I mean, it was pure experimentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It kind of worked all right, but I think that what would have been really lovely would have been to have sort of films of wax kind of see the petals sort of embedded, because I know you do use things. I noticed you've got like a
Oh,
butterfly piece. I don't know. Do you use that a
yeah.
lot?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. That the wax and daymar style of painting, you can just layer. I mean, it's limitless as your imagination. And I see, because you work with oil paints, don't you, and a lot of mixed media, perfect for that, because you can just layer all of those things within the layers. So I'll often go out for a walk. I'll press flowers and
Yeah.
leaves, and I'll add those in. I'll often use a lot of collage. I've got so there's a piece I'll be showing at the show. And it was actually a pencil drawing that I did when I was 15 years old. But I've taken so you can do photo transfer. So I've taken a photo
Really?
image transfer of that, and then you can embed that into wax. So, you know, once you kind of understand, but there are some ground rules with it. You need to understand just, you know, a few basic principles to make sure that it's, you know, you're fusing the layers together correctly, and, you know, health and safety things. But really, once you kind of got the basic foundations of it, it's just like, you know, I think the ladies on the last show were talking about learn the basics and then break the rules. You know, you kind of get the basics underhand, and then just keep on adding. I mean, I love so many things you said there. Like the photo image transfers, and just so many things that they just all kind of imaging. Yeah.
That would be interesting to collaborate on something.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, there's no
talk after the show or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. No, I'd be really happy to do that. It's just such I don't know why more people don't know about it, really. I mean, it used to be, anyway, it died out and it's coming back in, but it is just such a fascinating medium. But you can do exactly what you're saying, Colleen, and kind of collage all those layers and leaves in, scrape back in, reveal layers from underneath. I mean,
How did you, because it isn't that widespread, how did you actually discover it? How did you stumble on it?
So I don't have a art background myself, and I joined an untutored art group, and I'd got my way somehow into this first ever art exhibition I ever did, and I was terrified, and I was walking around, but I remember I was there, and I just had some pencil and pastel drawings that I'd done. I think I had 4 pictures in or something, and I can remember walking around. I can see it to this day. There was this picture at the top of an exhibition stand, and it was called Shine On Crazy Diamond by an encaustic wax artist in the UK over here. And I did some workshops with him. That was with the lower heat waxes on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did some workshops with him just to kind of learn how to do it. And then it was just like, I just studied it incessantly. I've just, something just gets you so like, I've got to learn how to do that. Yeah. So, and I can just remember seeing it to this day. I still see it now.
Does it take a lot of equipment to do it?
I've got a lot of equipment, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's like anything, you can go as all in it or as, as easy as you like. I mean, I love it. The lower heat waxes that you paint in that single layer on paper, they're brilliant. I sort of say they're suitable for anybody really, teens up to, whatever age, anybody. I've run so many workshops with it. We used to do wax and wine workshops, and it's pretty easy entry point, and it's just, and that packs up into a really small box, and you put it on the shelf and you're done. Through to, I've got a big A2 hot plate with all the brushes and all of this, and the heat guns and the blow torches and the shellac to set fire to it, and so you can go as crazy or as simplistic with it as you like, really.
So fun.
Yeah, it is. I love it. I'm really excited because when I get to Cornwall, I will in time have an art studio again. I'm feeling a bit like I've got my hands tied behind my back, but with the pandemic and everything, obviously not being able to have people in, it just timing all fell in. But yeah, when I get my art studio going again, we'll get the in-person workshops again. But I've got lots of online resources, so people can find out, or come to the show and they can find out about it. This is exactly what it's all about. Come and talk to each of us individually in our rooms, and we have exactly these conversations. But Colleen, you'll be in your room. Well, we've had the practice runs, haven't we? So you've kind of seen the format of how it works.
Otherwise, we wouldn't get the chance to talk to each other because we'd all be interacting with our own little visitors.
Yeah, that is the one thing about the show. We don't actually get to go around and see each other, but we have plenty of practices, so we can catch up with everybody.
Exactly.
Sammy's back now, look.
I'm back.
She's going to boot us out in a minute.
Shortly, I'm going to boot you out. That was just so interesting. I just loved hearing all three of you. And you're right, Steve. There's a collaboration of the three of you coming on here. I can see like this huge canvas being worked on by all three of you. I just think it'd be brilliant idea.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
So the show, Julie, date of the show.
29th and 30th of April. We have got 3 shows over 2 days. 7 p.m. on the Friday, and then this is UK time, so work out obviously time buddies wherever you are in the world. So 7 p.m. on the Friday, and then we've got a 10 a.m. and a 7 p.m. on the Saturday. But I think each show goes on for 3 hours. But it's amazing. There are 15 artists. We have got such a variety of art mediums.
Absolutely.
It's going to be really exciting.
If you feel you're going to run out of time, you can use the same ticket for all 3 shows.
That's right.
So what I'll do is, after I've loaded up the video, I'll put all the links in so people can come and get their tickets.
Perfect.
Steve, Colleen, Julie, they've got all the information on their Instagram pages as well. So I'd just like to say thank you so much for coming to the cafe today. Steve, thank you so much for getting up so early.
It's not that early, really, to be honest. I was actually hoping, initially when we started talking about it, I thought, oh my God, it's going to be like kind of 4 a.m. or something like that. So, but it's fine, actually. I mean, it's like 2, 3 there in the UK. So, I mean, it's 8:30 here. It's no big deal.
Oh, okay, I take back feeling sorry for you there.
No, it's really, really early. Yeah.
Go for a run.
I'm on holiday. All right.
Oh, I love it.
All right, does anyone want to say anything else before you leave?
No, it's just brilliant. I mean, it's completely new to me, doing the Zoom breakout rooms and the whole way it's set up, and it's brilliant. It really is. So highly recommend anybody stopping by and having a go at it.
It's amazing.
Exploring. So,
excellent.
And I'm
okay.
And honoured to have been invited.
Oh.
Really happy.
Well, like Julie said, I think it's just going to be such a great show. There's a real buzz about it already, and we haven't even got into our studios. Yeah. But it's going to be a good show. So thank you so much for coming on this afternoon. I'm going to load it up and post it to the Instagram pages.
Great.
So you all take care.
Thank you so much. Lovely to
no
speak to you all.
worries.
Thanks all.
See you later.
Everyone that's watching. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so the next artist cafe we have is on Monday the 20th. Monday the 20th? I think it's Monday the 20th of April. It's at 9 a.m. in the morning, because we will have Cindy from Melbourne, Australia, and we will have Linda from New Zealand. So, and myself. So there'll be 3 of us on for the live on the Monday. You're still on, Colleen?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Your every word.
We can carry on. All right, I'm going to load it up now, and we'll see you all for the next live. Bye bye.
I'll find it.